Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Kabir Considers. In this video, I'm going to react to why Europeans call these certain things American. Now, I recently discovered that American football was actually created and invented in Canada. That was a massive shock to me because I just assumed by the name it was, born and bred American sport, but apparently it's a Canadian sport. But yeah, there are certain things that, we just here in Europe assume are, American inventions just because they're kind of synonymous with Americans, the big refrigerator. I remember when I was a kid growing up, we had a pretty standard at the time fridge freezer. It was like a rectangle shape, quite thin. It was white. The top half was a fridge. The bottom half was a freezer. But it looked nothing like the big sort of stainless steel, double wide, all taller than me, or as tall as me refrigerators that are kind of in every household now, which I kind of synonymize with America. And there's probably a lot of other things on this list that when I see them, I'll think, yeah, surely this is an American thing, but apparently it's not gonna be. So yeah, this is gonna be a really fun video, I think.
American fridge, American bread, American bug attacking our country.
What?
Why do we call these things American when for American they don't need that adjective? Well, let us explain. Hi there, I'm an honest guide here in Czech Republic in Europe, and this is my favorite series we have on our channel, which is Cultural Differences. And why do we sometimes use the adjective American to things that are not necessarily American? Let me give you
American bread. I've never heard anyone say, oh, can I get some of that American bread? Never heard of that before. Maybe it's a thing in the Czech Republic.
the first example, and that would be a fridge. This fridge right here, even though it was made in Korea, is actually American. Or if I want to go buy it, if I go online, I will go into the section or into the aisle that says American fridge. Now, you in US would refer to it as the side-by-side. We call it American, mainly because it's big and because it has the side-by-side door.
So this we refer to as the American fridge, because one half of it is fridge, the other half is a freezer. But here's the funny part. This we still refer to.
Look at the size of it. This one is gargantuan, unless he is a really small guy, which I doubt.
As the American fridge. It's in the American fridge's eye.
Wow, so it's 192 centimeters high. That's 6'4". That's a lot of storage.
But the top part is only a fridge. The bottom is freezer. So in US, they actually refer to this as the French door fridge.
French doors are now the most popular style of refrigerator, so that demand also brings up the price of
The French door fridge. Oh, monsieur.
Korean. Samsung. Korean.
So much for America, huh? Now let's stay with these box-shaped objects that we refer to as American, but let's move from the fridge to a coffin. Yes, if somebody dies here and you want to get them a coffin, you can go to the funeral home and say, I want an American coffin. Now the difference is that the regular coffin would be cheap and made out of cheap plywood, but the American is solid, big, and has that opening where you can look at the dead person. Now in US, you'd refer to that as a casket. I actually didn't know the difference between a coffin and a casket.
Really? So you guys in the States or in North America don't use the word coffin? You guys use the word casket? Interesting. Huh.
I thought they're synonyms, but the difference is that this is what a coffin looks like, and this is what a casket looks like. But we, to your casket, would refer as the American coffin. Now, the only reason I can think of to get an American casket here is if you want to have a funeral with the open casket, which I've actually never attended, never heard of, or never been to in our country. So I guess that's mainly an American thing. That's why, therefore, you would go to get an American coffin. Since we're already in the horizontal position,
the thing about the big American style coffin is does it disintegrate and does it decompose quickly? Because with all of the materials and stuff, wouldn't that slow down the decomposition of the body and stuff like that? Wouldn't you want this nature to absorb the body as quickly as possible? Or I guess you want to send off the person in style, I guess. So maybe that's probably why people go for the big sort of, statement, like mahogany coffins with the openings and all that stuff.
Let's move from a coffin to a bet. More specifically, the American bet. You want to wake up like an American movie? Well, I'm actually quoting IKEA, the Swedish seller of furniture, and they sell American beds here. I mean, they sell regular beds as well, but what is an American bed? Well, it's a bed with the box spring base. Now, I didn't really know what the differences are, but there's a platform bed and a box spring bed. So the box spring bed we refer to as the American bed. In general, we're usually talking about something that's larger and quite a bit higher. Now this is a...
Never heard of an American style bed. Like here we just call it a bed. But I guess, yeah, maybe if you went on, because I'm not really familiar with all of the furniture websites, I just usually get stuff from IKEA. So maybe the other sites have like, an American style section for furniture and beds.
regular potato. And this is American potatoes. Now what the hell is that?
American
Well, it's actually a
potatoes.
spice to use for potatoes to make them American. But before these turn into American potatoes, you also have to slice them and put them in the oven because we're making potato wedges. That's what you would call them in US, but we refer to them as American potatoes. And you can even go to the store and get the spices for it that are called American.
We're with you, like we just call them potato wedges. In fact, I had some potato wedges last night for dinner with chicken goujons.
One of the biggest cultural differences in a supermarket we noticed is that our aisle with cereal is tiny little. This is the only selection we have of cereal.
It's pretty
I mean,
good.
on the other hand, we have automated robots that just kind of wander around.
Wow, look at that.
This wasn't planned. Anyhow, the aisle is actually much bigger as the sign says, but all of this is just healthy stuff. Like we don't have Fruit Loops or Lucky Charms and stuff like that. Like healthy cereal?
It's interesting. We never used to have like Fruit Loops in our supermarkets, but then Amazon started selling them online and they got really popular. So then now you see them in all the stores. It's funny how, as soon as like a product gets popular on, let's say, an online retailer, the supermarkets are quick to sort of like jump in there and try and get some of that.
Since we've already been to the supermarket to get the American potatoes, we also grabbed the American BRIT. Now, what is that? It's a regular sandwich bread that we usually refer to as the toast bread, but it has American flag all over it because it is much wider and larger in size than our toast bread. I mean, you can clearly see the difference, right? This one is also like fluffier. I prefer this one. This is the regular Czech one, but not regular Czech European bread. Our normal bread is much better and nicer. So this is the American bread. We even have the flag on it and stuff. This is actually a Czech company that makes it. This specific one is made in Germany, and the company is owned by a Slovak guy who used to be our prime minister.
No way. That's so funny. He just literally took bread, made it a bit bigger, and put the American flag all over it. I wonder if it's popular, like a popular product.
Now, he didn't invent the packaging and the fact that it's an American bread. He actually copied it from an Austrian company, Oetz. That is a family Austrian company that first brought this to our market. Also, they sort of marketed it as an American sandwich bread. So this guy saw it and he copied it. And you Americans are now just like, what? I thought you guys eat baguette. No, that's the French people with the fridge.
There's a bread that I had in Florida most recently. It was like yellow and had like a sweetness to it. It was sliced bread, but it had like a yellow hue. Like, what kind of bread is that? It was tasty, very sweet, but it was tasty, especially when I put some marmalade on there.
The next one is quite interesting, and it is the American Night. Now, it is the name of a film, of a movie, a French film actually, but it is a term used when you turn day into night. And it was specifically used during photography or filming First time it was used was in the film Wizard of
American
Oz.
Night.
And the reason they used these techniques back in the days is because they didn't have good cameras to film during evenings or low lights. So they had to film during the day, later turning it into night. Right now you're looking at me with 2 lights and some daylight, and Honza can put a filter in the Final Cut that will turn this day into night. Even if you go on Wikipedia, there's an article about it. In English, it's called day to night. In the other languages, it is called American night. Now, I actually thought that the term American night is used because it is fake, because it's pretending to be something that it's not. But that's not the case of American night. It is the case of the American smile. And I honestly don't know if you would say that as an American, that somebody has an American smile. Probably not. But we say that a lot. And it can mean 2 things. Either your smile is perfect, you have the perfect teeth, perfect smile that almost hurts, it's like cringing. And the other term that I would use it for is that your smile is fake, that I just don't believe you're actually smiling. Nor
I have noticed that in a lot of like American shows, or like sort of like you know those daytime TV shows where like there's like a couple of hosts and they get guests, like all of the TV anchors and the hosts have like perfect teeth. They're all like super straight, like very white teeth. Like, do they all like get veneers and stuff? Or because I can't imagine. I brush my teeth twice a day, you know, and my teeth are not white. Maybe it's all the coffee and the tea, probably. Yeah, but I couldn't imagine not drinking tea or coffee anymore. Because these guys must drink coffee for sure. But how do they keep their teeth so white?
you care how I'm doing. If you still don't understand what the American smile is, let me show you a Czech film that is sort of a parody on the Police Academy, where a famous Czech actor explains it.
Americký úsměv. No, keep smiling. Zubi, zubi. Americký.
Whoa, man, you bought America? That's awesome. Now, what did my friend buy? I know. In our language, if he would call me and he'd say, man, I just bought America, he would be referring to a car.
Oh.
Either an old classic American car like...
Oh my God, this thing looks so cool. Oh, I would love this in like black, glossy black.
an Oldsmobile or Pontiac or something like that, or simply a big, large car. There's one more thing that you can refer to as America and not use it as an adjective, but as a noun actually. But for that, we would have to go back in time to the communist era when we were behind the Iron Curtain and probably go to see my dad at a university where he would say like, oh man, he has Americas. Can I have one? And obviously they were referring to cigarettes that were very special if somebody got their hands on American brand cigarettes. It was something special and they would not refer to them as whatever the brand was, but as Americas.
Interesting.
American. Now, since we're already back in time, let's go take a look.
I'm trying to think, is there anything that we refer to as America, like in terms of like a product? Not really. There's nothing that I would say, oh, I've just bought some Americas. It would be like American this or American that, like, but even then we wouldn't really use that just because like here in the UK, like we pretty much buy the same products that you guys do. Like I can't think of anything that you guys can get over there that we can't get. So we just refer to it as whatever you guys call it.
Look at another American thing, and I believe we have some historical footage.
These clouds are not bringing joy and happiness because they are from the west. With the help of the wind and the clouds, the American imperialists send the Colorado potato beetle onto our country. The
Colorado.
father and the son noticed something little on the ground. They lean down to pick up something from the road.
That's it, the American bug.
Nejnovější zločinný prostředek amerického barbarství.
American bug. Now, since I did not live during communism and during these horrible propaganda times when people were brainwashed that West is sending this evil creature to destroy our potatoes, I never associated the adjective American with this poor little beetle. But when I asked my parents or even older people, what do they associate American with, they said, oh yeah, during the propaganda times, they would always refer about the beetle as American. That's where the term American bug comes from. Now, last but not least, and we have to talk about this topic, is the American...
One thing I will say is that it seems that your bugs, like your cockroaches in America, are way bigger than ours. Like, I remember seeing a cockroach like in Florida that was like almost like, maybe, I'm not going to say it's big, it wasn't as big as this, but it was like, say like that big, like from this up. It was huge, huge.
American football. Now, what you call football is not football because you're not using your foot nor a ball to play.
Yeah, they're
you're
mentioning
actually
football.
using an egg shaped
Canadian
object
football.
and you're playing with your hands. Therefore, it should be called hand egg or egg hand. You decide, but not football. That's why we refer to your funny game as American football, and our football is what it is. Now, the adjective American usually means good or better or something special. There's even a famous Czech movie where the actor is asking another actor, if I put two identical matchboxes in front of you and I would say that one is from America, the United States, which one would you pick? And he says, well, of course, the American, it has to be better.
Tak není něco z USA, tak se to pánu nelíbí.
And I'm curious to ask you Americans, and I know many of you are watching, do you have the same thing with Europe? If something is from Europe, do you consider it to be better quality,
a lot of you guys do.
better taste, better something? Are there things that you refer to as European that we wouldn't understand why? I actually discussed this with my American cousin, and she said that there's butter that they refer to as European, or yogurts, or bread.
Like a lot of Americans drive like European cars or German cars, and I think they are, you know, synonymous with quality. Like a lot of people think European cars are like of a higher quality than the American equivalent. I think fashion as well, like, you know, Gucci, Prada, Louis, stuff like that is seen as, you know, high quality, because I guess it is, to be fair. So yeah, I do think there are probably a lot of European products that Americans, you know, think are, you know, higher quality or good. Like, let me know if you agree with that. I think most of you would.
So I'm curious if there's more things that we would be surprised that you refer to as European. I'm very much looking to the reactions in your comments to today's video.
Fun video. Like, I had no idea that in the Czech Republic back in the day, like things that were from America were just, you know, seen as kind of like superior in terms of quality and stuff like that. It's interesting because, you know, nowadays, like some people think that American products, you know, aren't as good quality, you know, like they think maybe they're not as reliable as something from Europe or Japan or something like that. So it's interesting to see, you know, how the attitudes have shifted and changed and evolved over time. Yeah, like fun video, very, very interesting. The refrigerator, like I knew that was going to be on the list. American football, I knew it was going to be on the list, although he didn't mention the fact that it was invented in Canada. But yeah, some of the other ones, like the American smile or American night, I had no idea what they were, but very interested in learning about them anyway. It was a fun video. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.